Thing on. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Hello! We are live. Excellent. Hello, my fellow foam flinging enthusiasts. It's me, Andrew, aka Dart Sweep, and welcome to another fun foam flinging filled episode of the Foam Zone. Welcome back. If you are joining us here for the first time, welcome. The Foam Zone is a bi-weekly live streaming interview show where we interview guests all throughout the hobby, whether they be club admins, event organizers, modders, designers, you name it. If you fling foam, we want to have you on here. So if that's you, hit us up. We'd love to get you on here and have you on a guest and share the love of foam flinging. So a couple quick housekeeping notes. Well, first of all, thank you for everyone that is watching. I see that we have about 11 people in there. So if we could get 11 thumbs up at least, that would be great. So hit that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And of course, if you have not visited the World Foam Alliance, worldfoamalliance.org website, please do so. Register yourself and your club and let us know where you're at so we can get connected. I know we are diligently working in the background, updating the website as we speak, and getting the maps updated, making sure everything is correct with the info. We are also looking to add a database calendar for all the clubs. So if you click on the club, you can see which event they're having and where that's located and any information regarding attending for ticketing or anything like that. So lots of really cool stuff coming up. Also, we have Foams Giving that we were working on. So if you're interested in participating, either as someone who is going to donate some prizes or wants to potentially be a guest host, we would love to hear from you. Our target date, I believe, is November 23rd. So we're trying to get a feeler out to see if that works for everyone. So if that is sounds like it will work for you, or I think we did it in the second week of December last year, that would be our alternative date as well, if that's too soon. So if you're looking for November 23rd or the second weekend of December for Foam's Giving, please let us know what works best for you. Quick shout out to everyone that's watching. Shout out to my dog, Strife, Wizard Builds. Who else do we have? CR Nerf is in the house. 8 Industries, Dan Builds. Oh, Donut Cat, the one and only. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so let's see. What else do we have? Just a couple quick announcements for events. I heard that I know that Ragnarok October was with this past weekend. I would love to know how it went. I've only seen a few photos and some video clips from Boomstick Mods. It looked like it was a lot of fun, fantastic turnout. It looked like the BTA King of the Hill was another successful tournament. Congratulations to Team Red Tide, Magic Smoke, and Nebula, I believe was the other team, and Orca for placing fourth. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it out this year due to work obligations. One day maybe, but yes, I heard it was a lot of fun. So I would love to hear the reviews, how it went. I got a chance to drop into the stream for a little bit, and it was fun to see that going on. So yeah, lots of good stuff. I know that the Battle of Endor for Maryland Nerf Herders, Maryland Foam Alliance, is going to be November 2nd down in the Severn, Maryland area. We'll roll some video clips of that at some point. Maybe I can get that over to Daffy. If not now, we'll get it on the next show. But yes, get hype. I haven't loaded it up. I'll get it to you at some point. But yes, so November 2nd, mark it on your calendar. 200 FPS, Battle in the Woods. Fantastic. All Star Wars themed. Always a fun time. Highly recommend. Mark your calendars, join us. Also, Tang is having their old school winter Halloween blaster battle, 300 FPS, old NIC blaster battle, I believe. And that'll be coming up in across the border. So definitely check that out. I think they'll have some more information leading up to that. And then what else do we have? I feel like I'm missing something. I'm sure I'll remember it at some point. But also, some new blaster releases. The Worker blaster. I know everyone's excited about that. I'm very curious about what everyone thinks about the bolt action. What do they call it? What's it called? The Kuma. I forget what it's called. Someone will write it down and correct me. But yes, what are your thoughts on that blaster release? There it is, the Kuman. And what do you think of the name? Especially since we've had the Seagull and the Harrier. Guess it's in line, right? I'm assuming the Kuman is a bird as well, maybe? Probably. But yeah, so very exciting to see that. Hopefully a reliable bolt action that we've all been waiting for. That looks like it's going to be hitting 300. So 300 FPS relatively easily. But very curious about what that prime's going to be like. So your thoughts on that? Mythical Mountain Range, I think. There you go. Yeah, very funny. Cool. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our guests for the evening. Now, I've had the pleasure of meeting our guests this past APOC in August, I think, for at APOC and BPOC. And they also made a trip down from the New York area to come down and play with us here at Maryland at the DMV Nerfers a couple weeks ago, or our last month event, and I think they had a good time. So they are someone that has been in the hobby for a while. At some point, they took a break, and they have now returned to the hobby, and they are on a mission now to help build the community back in the area and get things going again. So our guest is one of the club organizers, or what is it? Club admins? What would you say? Founder?
Host.
There you go. Club host. Club host. For the Long Island Nerf Ops Club. Our guest is Faddle. Faddle, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Good to be on the show. I'm doing great. It's so crazy to think that just coming on into the hobby very recently, I'd be on a foam flinging podcast with you, and I've been obsessed with your content ever since getting back into things, watching nearly every single one of your videos. So absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation, man.
Absolutely. I mean, when I met you, you have good energy, and I think I like to think I have a good feel for people when meeting them, and your enthusiasm, your good attitude, just your overall vibes is extremely positive. I like to think I'm a little bit that way. I'm probably a little bit more pessimistic or negative, but you bring such enthusiasm, such a positive spin and approach to everything that you do since the time I've met you in person, and just how we've been interacting, and just in the short period of time that you have been back in the hobby. You are building a community, and that's something that takes a special type of personality to be able to do. Not only do it, but do it effectively and do it right. So, I was happy that you were able to make it down a couple of weeks ago, and so we'll talk about that at some point. But I would love for you just to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So, hi everybody. Thank you so much again for having me on, Andrew. I'm Faddle. Very nice to meet all of you, and to finally have more of a presence on video, I guess. I have been involved in the hobby going all the way back to 2008, 2009. So I was 10 years old, and I was, a typical young boy wanting to get involved in foam flinging, shooter style games and toys and things like that, like every child would. And I got quickly into Nerf. I started to get into the hype of the Vulcan coming out at that time. Everybody was talking about the release of that thing, when we were in elementary school. And I got so obsessed, so into this idea of not only playing with Nerf blasters, but hosting Nerf games when I was 10 and 11 with my friends, that I ended up researching and finding out that there was an entire Nerf internet community that existed at the time online throughout the country, throughout the United States, and throughout the world. And instantly, just this thought of massive amounts of people charging at each other with different blasters, different types of foam, darts, arrows, you name it. I just got very, very obsessed with it very, very quickly. And so I ended up making an account on an old website called nerfhaven.com. I lied about my age back in the day. I was 10, 11. In reality, you're supposed to be 13, but that's how into it I was. And to be fair, half of us did that at the time. Sorry, old admins. And I got very much into that hobby very quickly. I live on Long Island in New York, and I learned about Apocalypse, the Northeast big war of the year every single year, and it's been going on since the early 2000s. And I went there. My father drove me all the way out there for my first big Nerf war when I was 11, and I was one of the earliest wearers of a Nerf Strong wristband. I have it over there. I can bring it over later on today. One of the earliest kind of collections of hobby history that ended up occurring. So I was very obsessed with it. And being the so-called 13-year-old that I was at the time, I ended up hosting an event called the Long Island Nerf War. And this was back in around October, November of 2009. And there were people that were college-aged engineers that came all the way out from New Jersey and Connecticut. This one guy taking a ferry all the way across the Long Island Sound, and there wasn't such a thing as Uber at the time, walking like 2 towns in just to make it to a Nerf war. That's how really exciting things were back in the day, all those years ago. And I was just a kid overflown with excitement and just bringing people together and growing a community. Even when I was that little, that was just absolutely amazing to me. So I had a ton of fun. I went to a few New York State Nerf wars and a few more APOCs after that. But around 2012 or maybe early 2013, but really 2011, 2012, sometime around there, I ended up taking a 12 to near 13-year break from things. I got obsessed with certain video games instead and developed that addiction for like 10 years. And then, my career was also growing. I went, to middle school, high school, and college, and I do various different things for my career in the outside world. And eventually, for my profession, in 2024, I myself and the organization that I run decided to get a commercial office lease, a 1,300 square foot office headquarters with a lot of space. And a lot of space that we don't use. So we have couches, we have a futon, we have a bunch of different desks, lots of different folding chairs that we can move around because we have group meetings in here. And my old high school friends that visited me decided, you know what, man? Let's go to the Dollar Tree down the road. This is around March, April of 2024. Let's go to the Dollar Tree down the road and buy a bunch of these X-Shot Mark III things and shoot them around the office. So it would be myself and a mix of my colleagues and friends from high school and college. We'd be shooting each other and making memes in the Discord server of the organization I run. And my friend, Steven Plays Paintball, a college friend of mine and colleague of mine from the Capital Region in New York, he said, man, you guys are having fun with memeing and shooting Nerf blasters around. I'm a part of this tri-state group called United Nerf Ops. Dude, I think you should join. And I said, you know what? Cool. It'd be awesome to get back into this. And the moment I joined, a ton of people who knew me when I was 11, 12 to 13 years later said, oh my God, Fattle's back. Steven, how were you able to pull Fattle back in? And I was very shocked and surprised. My reaction was, you guys are still in this thing? You guys are still doing this? You guys were in college when I was in like elementary school, and you guys are still doing this years later. But immediately when joining the Uno server, and I got obsessed again. That rush that I had when I was in the Nerf internet community on Nerf Haven, that squeaker kid all those years ago, that energy came flowing back, and I was shocked. The technological progression of everything with all these companies 13 years later, the learning about how in 2020 the Nexus Pro came out from Dart Zone, which revolutionized the entire industry of foam flinging, where you don't have to, modify something like a Buzzbee Big Blast or an Air Zone Triple Shot, which was the height of foam flinging modifications in 2009 and 2010. You can go to your local Walmart, ladies and gentlemen, and get for $50 something that at least rivals, you could argue if it's better or worse, at least rivals 3D printed foam flinging rifles that are worth hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, and short darts. Oh my God, short darts. I remember being around as a child back in the day when Steffens were a thing. You'd get lots and lots of foam, cut them up into little pieces, put some hot glue and even BBs or fishing poles into them, and shoot them in public parks while other civilians were around. That was the height of technology 12, 13 years ago, and we've switched to short darts that you can buy at your local Walmart and your local Target. I was instantly amazed. And lo and behold, the Long Island Nerf Wars that I originally hosted when I was a child, not even an adolescent yet, that was still going on, led by new, amazing, experienced people in the hobby, with a tri-state organization that was a part of, that had an event every single week or nearly every single week in a city that's an hour or less away from me. That was awesome. And instantly I got turned on, and instantly I got straight back into all this. And as you can see, I got started, guys. We got started in the office with this. I'll explain how I got all of this. This is just the result of a few months worth, barely, not even half a year, ladies and gentlemen's worth of getting back into this on a serious basis to get community alive in a community near me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing to see how this hobby can really quickly suck you in, and next thing you know, you're in over your head, and you're hosting Maryland Mayhem, and that's that. So, but yeah, speaking of Maryland Mayhem. I don't want to say too much, but everyone, please stay tuned to socials. There should be a very big announcement being announced pretty soon. So stay tuned. But yeah, I think what you're saying about, well, first of all, I kind of want to know what it was like organizing and hosting events as a 10-year-old. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that was like?
It was very, very weird. If people were, I'll expose myself a little bit. If people go to nerfhaven.com and look at my posts in the forums, I barely had decent grammar in English. The old mods would basically make fun of me because they were like 30 or 30 something. And I don't think most of them even knew that I was like 10, 11. So they probably thought I was older, and you could see like a bunch of them like literally cursing out there. But I don't care. I enjoyed the energy. I enjoyed the fun. I enjoyed organizing things. So some of the earliest people that I got to know, who I still know today, was Rob, Blaster Guy Rob. Now he's known as formerly known as DX on Nerf Haven. He's the guy who took the ferry all the way to Long Island and walked 2 towns in just to meet up with me. Zach Friedman. So Zach Friedman, he's based in the Chicago area now. I know he had a very big, has I think a semi-big Nerf channel on YouTuber. He came to him and Rob came to my battle when I was 10 and traveled all the way from other states just to arrive. And I've known them now. I've known of them since then. It was a lot of fun organizing, getting people together. I organized I told my father, okay, you're going to get this amount of donuts and this amount of pizza. We're going to have it at my old elementary school right on the side of the table. And I remember the rules, organizing everything, being apparently hard to hit. I'm looking at the old forms, and I was told that I was hard to hit. I didn't even remember. But even back then, I liked organizing things. And apparently, according to what Rob still tells me now, I did a good job. So I believe him.
That's right. I wish I had the photo of Rob actually abandoning me and the other humans at this past Survival Fest. I'll throw that up on here at some point. But yes, shout out to Blaster Rob.
Yeah, the guy that doesn't age. He literally, when I saw him in 2009, when I saw him again at a TNT event in 2024, like June, he did not look any bit different than he was in 2009, guys. I don't know what is with the guy. I don't know what he drinks on a daily basis or what he eats, but this guy doesn't look different at all. He's going to outlive all of us. He's going to outlive me.
It's genetics.
I didn't want to say that on your podcast.
It's genetics. I mean, you kind of explained it a little bit, but what is it really that attracts you to foam flinging? What aspects of it do you really love and that keeps you engaged? And why do you love it? And what keeps you here? And what has kept you here? And what got you back? Essentially.
So I guess for 10-year-old and 11-year-old me, it would have been like the of military history, and I don't want to say certain words, right? Since we're on YouTube, but liking to fire things and shoot things that are very similar to other things, let's just say. Being a young boy, you're very most people are very into things that are like that, typical young child adolescent energy. When I was growing up and doing more things later on in life, every now and then I would go to my friends' paintball birthday parties and airsoft birthday parties and airsoft arenas and stuff like that. But there is something about foam flinging that makes it way more fun. I don't know if it's the affordability, the industry, the fact that the industry is always expanding, almost more than paintball, more than airsoft, the capitalistic but amazing rivalry between these companies to always try to do better by the consumer, always try to create a product that's better. Just the summer of 2024 alone, I joined at the right time, right when the NPX came out and the APX came out, and you're seeing 3 to 4 different companies coming out with all this stuff at once. I know out of Darts, the guy who runs that, he can't even make enough videos yet to go over everything that just released over the past 2 months, which is insane. There is something about that, the collectability, the ability to modify, maybe the ability to make a big change, because maybe it's not as mainstream as paintball still in certain circles. I don't know, maybe a combination of those things that just makes it all super exciting for me. It's whenever I am not working, whenever I'm not doing other things for the other projects I have to do, I'm always scheduling the next event, helping to grow another event with another host if they need my help, and just trying to get every friend and every colleague around my area to just pack my car with me and to go as many things as possible and to build this crazy collection, mostly for free, by the way.
Absolutely. Just a quick shout out to Joe Fox. Xbox Games is in the house. Also, I think your friend Steven is taking credit for you if that's all pick 259 to get you back in the hobby.
Credit to him. And shout out to him. He, by the way, runs the Albany area Nerf group. So for anybody that's in the capital region of New York State, Albany, Rensselaer, Troy, or northwestern Connecticut, or anything anywhere nearby, or you're just interested in traveling an hour or two to that area, he is in charge of a great group. I know Steven, in work world, and I know his leadership abilities quite well. So I know he's going to do a great job up there. And Steven, spoiler alert, I want to drag you into Uno more as a result of this, because I know you're going to do a great job, and I like bringing people together. But shout out to him in the Albany area Nerf group. I really like the guy, and if it wasn't for Steven, seeing me and my colleagues in another server play with these things and meme around with these things and some meme glasses, I would not be on the show right now. I would not be the co-host of LINO. I would argue that our tri-state community might be a bit different if it wasn't for Steven just deciding to send me that casual message. So real shout out to him for getting me back into all of this.
Shout out to Steve. Let's see. If anyone has any questions, comments, anything they want to highlight, just go ahead and drop that down in the live chat, and we'll throw that up on the super chat or something. I'm sure we can get that up there. Yeah. So one thing One thing I heard you also mention was when you got into Discord, you were able to find this community and an abundance of information that you weren't privy to just because you've been out of the hobby for so long. Talk a little bit about that, and I think that is a testament to why a lot of people enjoy this hobby as well.
And why a lot of people stay in this hobby now as well
Absolutely.
too, Andrew, because it's so amazing. I've not met a single person in this hobby that I vehemently personally dislike. Merely all of the hosts or all the people that help to give away venues for Uno at least to use. I bet it's the same for MDFA. Have been some of the nicest people that I've interacted with. I'll give some Uno examples and I'll give some MDFA examples. So for Uno, we have a guy named Buddha. He is in the Uno Discord server, and he is the new venue, at least host or venue provider for New Jersey Nerf Ops, for our NJNO events, rec events that happen once a month, and they are amazing. NJNO and LINO within Uno are kind of competing because the sizes are both growing at the same rate. And he has been one of the nicest guys ever, providing his home, providing so many different things from drinks and food to blasters. I traded a cheap Nerf pistol from the Zombie Strike line because he wanted one so badly, and he offered me a modified, somewhat modified Strife X for it as of a few days ago because he knew that I would use that as a loaner, a flywheel loaner to more people as Lino grows also out east. So Buddha is just an example. Ness, who is in charge of Uno, I could not be more proud of his leadership and his ability
Mr.
to bring
President.
all of us together. He is a really chill, awesome guy.
He
Uh,
is.
I always vibe so well with him. Getting back together with my friend Rob, um, I talk to him every single day. We have work meetings every single day, and there's a bunch of projects that I can actually announce on here that him and I are working on that I think your audience might be interested in.
Sure, absolutely.
Really some of the most kindest humanistic people within Uno. And then also I'm going to bring up MDFA. You have been so charitable, Andrew, when it came to, having me come down all the way from Long Island, New York to Maryland, taking that drive. You wanted to do whatever you can to make sure that I felt welcome coming from several states away. And I feel bad because you guys come up to New Jersey all the time for our Uno events. I feel like some of us, we got to come down a little bit more to you. But I felt really at home. Driving all the way down, I could have not been more proud to do so. And I'll tell a little bit more of a story. We went out after the DC Blaster Battle to grab some Thai food. And once you left, Andrew, my car broke down in the
I
parking lot
heard.
of my restaurant. And I went, oh, snap. It's a 5 to 6 hour drive back home. How the heck am I going to make it? It's a Sunday, by the way, everybody. It was a Sunday, not a Saturday, not a Friday. Shops were not open to repair the vehicle. Luckily, Donut was still in his car, still just, I guess, on his phone, preparing to go home. And he was more than gracious to not only help me and stay out with me for hours and hours on end to find out what the problem was with the car, but he drove me all the way to a store to get a new battery, exchange for a new battery, and he put it in. He engineered everything and put it all in, and that's the reason why I was able to get home that night and travel a quarter of the way across the country to sleep in my bed that night, thanks to and the guy didn't even want money. I gave him some money anyways, just because I felt so bad. But that's the humanism, everybody, that is in this hobby, regardless of what state coalition group that you're a part of. I have not found anybody yet who has been disingenuous, mean, horrible. Obviously, we're very, very large in the country as a hobby as a whole. I bet we can find a few one day, but it's very hard to do so because of just the great ethics that everybody holds. And it's why I'm just obsessed with this hobby and couldn't be prouder to grow the community, because it's a community of very kind and very fun and very chill people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you said it very eloquently there. Absolutely, the community. I will like to give a shout out to Donut Cat as well, who is our local resident fixer, who fixes not only our blasters, but he has fixed my garage door. He's fixed my water pressure. Yes, so he's Donut Cat is very versatile at fixing things. So if something is broken, and all else fails, hit up Donut Cat, and maybe you'll be lucky, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to see what he can do. But yeah, Donut Cat is awesome. But yeah, I think same thing just in general with traveling back and forth and just going to different events and groups all over the country. Yeah, I mean, foam flinging really kind of brings people together, and people are super enthusiastic regardless of social economic backgrounds, political beliefs. A lot of that stuff gets put aside, which is pretty unique, especially in this time. And I think that is an amazing aspect to be a part of and participate in. But I am curious. I know when you got back into the hobby, there were some blasters that you were impressed with. So tell me, coming from old school, relatively NIC days to coming back relatively recently, what you were using, what you like to use back in the day, and kind of what you've discovered and you're using these days. How have things changed and progressed?
It's
because I see your face light up, and you've messaged me about, I got this, and So I'm very curious. Let everyone know.
I'm still new. I'm still very new to all this, everybody. So yeah, back in the 2000s, the late 2000s, if you went to Armageddon in California, if you went to Apocalypse in New Jersey, if you went to any of the big wars or community events around the country during those days, you would see people that would basically have modified and strike long shots with PVC barrels to make them shoot slightly further than what they were originally shooting. You would see the Arizona triple shot was the thing in 2009 and 2010 that everybody would try to buy, and they would change the barrels to put brass or PVC right on the front to make the Steffens go a little further. I can't find a single modern long dart that could shoot out of this these days. But this was super duper popular back in the day, and you would see a lot of people like myself playing with the Busby Big Blast, where most of the front would be sawed off and modified to where you would have to take the barrel out. Every single time you were to pump 10 times to just get a shot across the field, put a Steffen dart through the bottom, put the barrel back, and then shoot it once. And then repeat the same process over and over and over and over again. By the way, when there's like 20 people charging at you in an open field in New Jersey. That was the hobby back then. That was normal back then. That was state of the art back then, where people were contracting people that modded just to make them something that could go far. That was the hype of things. Oh, and if you were really nerdy and an engineer, you would build it. You 3D printing wasn't a thing. 3D printers didn't exist. You'd build a homemade blaster, which means, you'd be able to stick, like, imagine this is like a longer blaster with like clear plastic. You'd be able to stick like 6, 7 Steffen darts and then have it shoot. And like, you were the most advanced. Like, that was the S word. I don't want to get you demonetized. That was the stuff. Okay. And when I came back into the hobby, I was instantly overwhelmed. Just with the Nexus Pro X that can shoot 12 rounds if you don't replace it with a 15 or something else from another company, very, very rapidly with slam fire. The Aeon Pro X that you can get sometimes on discount for like $20 at your local Walmart that can basically do nearly the same thing. Flywheelers, pro flywheelers that you can buy off the shelf or getting something like a Strife X. This was non-existent 10 years ago. You would have been the most advanced if you were some kind of nerdy engineer and you were able to create anything that had a semblance of this back in the day. You were seen as the most advanced person in your entire community, probably in the entire state. And the fact that you could go to a Walmart, the fact that you could go to a Target and purchase something like that is insane. So I used that Busby Big Blast, that annoying one shooter that was modified with a PVC barrel as my primary and as the primary for a lot of people. A lot of people use this. Now I use the Nexus Pro X, and for flywheeling, I swap between a modified Strife X and a Dart Zone Maxim Pro with a new Cajun motor inside of it.
Nice.
New motor inside of it, rather. And this goes at around 170 FPS. So, a little bit of a cheating, 10 FPS extra. But man, this is awesome. And I got to say, Dart Zone's not paying me to say this. Andrew did not tell me to say this in the beginning. I've been starting to use modified Maxim Pro more than the Strife X. I'm talking about the non 3D printed variety. This is so amazing. And there are people that have just been practicing for only 2-3 months alone at competitive indoor events that have gotten just as advanced as people that have been playing for 5 years with 3D printed stuff because of the innovations that Dart Zone has been making. You know, there are certain blasters that are crummy and are horrible that are made by various different companies. And then here's what I love about Dart Zone. They see the criticism from people that don't like certain designs from their old days. You know what they do? They get together in, I guess, a boardroom or whatever, and they come out with products that amaze us in this hobby. And again, I'm not being paid to say this. Andrew's not encouraging me to say this. There's companies. I think the Strife X actually shoots a little better than the Maxim Pro. The darts can get out faster, but the way that you can control this, at least with the new out of darts parts, is just absolutely amazing and phenomenal. I highly encourage people to get an NPX and a Maxim Pro. And that's what I use currently, although I have an order for a Spirit coming in very, very soon, and I want to get
Very
one
nice.
baby Spirit just like Rob's, where like it doesn't even have the big stock in the back, and I could just go shoot like the Maxim and like the Strife X. I'm really getting into comp. I'm helping to revive Uno Reverse and get it to pro status, where it can be a little bit more higher in the tier of winners, and hopefully maybe we can have, I don't know, an Uno team at RAG in 2025. Maybe. We'll see. So that's my inventory of what I currently use now. And I care about, and I said this on a TNT stream once, I care about quantity over quality in many aspects. I care about that community building more. So if there's a friend of mine, one of several colleagues that I bring to LINO that I help host, or a different event, I prefer to give them the better blaster. I'll use the crummier blaster as long as people are having fun. And if we can get 10 to 20 more people to enjoy the experience, I don't care. I'll play with the pea shooter again with long darts from Dollar Tree. You know, this is what you can literally get at Dollar Tree now, and the spring is even better than the Night Finder. But yeah, that's my that was my inventory 2009 and my inventory in 2024.
Very cool. Yeah, it's amazing to see how things have progressed in a long period of time, but also a very short period of time as well. Because you know, the original Nexus and Aeon Pro came out in what, 2021? 2020 or 2021. Yeah, I think it was 2020 actually. So, you know, that's relatively recent as well. So, but I agree 100%. I think the Nexus Pro was the game changer for sure. So, oops. Oh no. How do I do? What do I do? Going to the chat. Louis, who is Art on 8 Industries, says currently writing up a poll in Lockdown HVZ online Facebook messaging. So Louis hosts really cool, and I was doing this on DMV for a little bit. I do want to get it started back up on the DMV Facebook group. But Louis hosts online HVZ games, essentially target challenges. And they're a lot of fun. So I highly encourage everyone to hit up Louis, Archan 8 Industries, and see what you can do and get involved. Louis, I'm going to actually be getting in contact with you again soon because I want to get that going. That was a lot of fun when we had that. So if that's something you're interested, hit up Louis. Also, let's see, someone had something in here earlier. I forget what it was, but that's fine. Question for our audience. Are you team Maxim or are you team Strife X? Or, I don't know if it's fair to throw this into, but are you team Blink? I don't think that's fair.
This is the Nerf flywheeler that's new now, the Torrent or Sender.
So the Sender is the bullpup
Sender maybe, I don't know.
So I'm not gonna. So no. So I don't even think we can put that in there. They're not comparable. But I feel like even though I do have fun with the Sender, I'm not gonna. The Sender is fun. The Sender's sure, so I'm happy that the Sender exists. I have used it. I have fun using it. Will I be using it all the time? When I have a Maxim and a Strife X and a Blink, probably not. So, but I have.
Before I would say no.
But yeah, I'm curious. Are you team Strikex? Are you team Maxim? Or are you team Blink? I did have a chance to play with the Blink over the weekend. My pre-order finally came, and I have to say, for a first entry into the Pro Blaster line, hitting 200 FPS, variable rate of fire, variable power, 3S LiPo, and you can plug it in with a USB-C for $90, but I got it for the pre-order price of 70. Comes with the mat. I don't know, man. It's pretty good. And it's also got that math behind it in the cage and the wheels and the motors, if you know what I'm talking about. So
I liked it.
and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it using it at the indoor venue at DMV, which is pretty CQB-ish for the most part, but it was getting tags, so I don't know. I'm gonna use it again this weekend and get more of a chance to try it out. But yeah, if you have a Blink, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Another blaster I had a chance to try out, not this weekend but the past weekend, was finally the Colonel Wash 77, which is a AEB AEG, the sequel to the Colonel Wash 76, which I have as well. And when it was working, there's definitely, at least on mine, and everyone knows there's a trigger sear issue or something. But if you get the right technique, you can actually get it to work properly, which I was able to do. And I was having a lot of fun with it. So I don't know. I have Donut Cat actually taking a look at it to see if he can get it back up into a tip-top shape. But Thomas Malone said he's very disappointed in the siren, and it's getting cut off, and the siren blink. Please elaborate.
For improvement.
Yeah. But again, for the first entry into Pro Line Blaster, it's nice to see there's another company. Yeah, there's always room for improvements. I think it's good for what it is. Oh, the Mauler. Yeah, well, the Mauler is a different discussion. Again, I think the sirens, in their defense, it's just a first go around. They're doing some pretty unique things with the blasters, especially with the Mauler, with the variable FPS power. Which I do like, but the Ergo is definitely something that could use improvement. But the concept and the price point, I think, are fantastic for what they are. So that's just my opinion. Donut says, from the little testing, I think I improved the trigger on the 77. So there's hope. There's hope, people. And I also heard that they are fixing some of the newer units that are going out, and hopefully it'll be resolved if Monkey Mods gets their hands on it and do their thing to it, which they tend to do with things they get. Is the Mauler has potential, just needs the community to improve it. The gimmick is cool. Yeah, exactly. Agree. Yeah. So, have you got a chance to try any of the Siren Blasters, Battle?
I have, yeah. So we at Uno at NJNO over the weekend, a bunch of our players brought over a bunch of Siren Blasters, and I was very excited to try them out myself, especially when it comes to equipping a lot of people in LINO with cheap, affordable springers and flywheelers, but ones that are also effective. Were Siren products able to challenge the Nexus Pro X? Were Siren products able to challenge the Strife X, were Dart Zone products, Nerf Pro products? I would say I have a very similar opinion to you. Some of them are actually pretty good. Some of them are of a decent quality that I think is really, really impressive. Some of them not so much. But one thing I love is that if you look at I believe the box of some of these blasters, the Siren Blasters, they talk about their hobby history. They talk about how they are from this profession and they love doing this and they love listening to people. So what exactly? It was a good start for their V1 line into things, and very similar to Dart Zone. With Dart Zone Pro, what I think is hopefully going to happen is this ability to listen to customers. A lot of pros and any cons that people in the community might have, just like a few of the guys from Bain have been saying. And I am always excited to try new things out and to always see, you know, this kind of competition that leads to always things getting better. This has happened with Dart Zone. Now, that's why Dart Zone is now a successful and trusted brand because of that. And hopefully Siren will follow suit. You know, that's why I like the creator of Out of Darts. He says he likes to go to a lot of these conventions and look at his competitors because it always makes him better. And I think that is the same case for everybody else. And for, you know, an organizer and hobby enthusiast throughout the tri-state and somebody who likes to travel around the East Coast to do these things and to equip people, I always like to study these innovations and always look at these reviews, both online and in person, to try to make sure I'm getting the best bang for my buck.
And Thomas Malone is shouting out Bain, and Bain is Boston area Nerf.
Yeah, they're basically New England. So you got MDFA for, you know, the mid-Atlantic states, Virginia, Maryland, DC. You got Uno, which is New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and then you got Bain, which I believe is Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and I believe the great state of Rhode Island. Pretty much all the New England states. So it's kind of cool that you have these coalitions of Nerf groups that are kind of linked together in that kind of way, which also leads me to some announcements that I can make in relation to Bain, to stuff that we might want to do with MDFA and Uno as well.
Sure.
So many different things that are just happening here alone, things that I'm crafting thanks to all of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I stand corrected. My apologies, Thomas. Blaster Alliance of New England. There we go. I knew it was something. Yeah, when we were up in Boston for the Fan Expo with Dart Zone, we were looking to refer people to the local clubs there, and I think we were referring them to Boston area Nerf group or something like that.
Bain is gonna have the same future as MDFA and Uno. So
excellent.
I would love to visit my New England friends soon and see how they're doing things up there.
Absolutely. And I went to high school in New England in the boarding school circuit up there. So I'm very familiar with that area. I would love to hit that circuit as well. So let me know and maybe we can coordinate a trip up there. So yeah. And then last on the Blaster Chat was the release of the worker what do they call it that? It's a bird, right? I'm assuming it's a bird.
I'm assuming so because they base like all these different.
The Kunlun. Kunlun or Kunlun. But yeah, I'm assuming it's a bird. What are your thoughts on that?
Is that the shotgun, the one that fires? There's something that was released recently, a 3D printed blaster. It's really popular that fires every dart that you can think of, from a rocket to Mega XL, everything except the Titan rockets, or is that somebody else's design?
Yeah, so the Kunlun is the new worker blaster that was announced. That is the bolt action rifle. Yeah. So
I have yet to try it, and I really want to.
Yeah, I think they just announced it, and pre-orders, I believe, are available and should be sending out pretty soon. But I know a lot of people are really excited about it just for the fact that it's bolt action. Faddle, do me a favor and just focus on your face, or tap focus on your face. I think it's focusing on your background.
Oh,
maybe. If you have a focus ring.
Is it working now?
Oh, does it? Maybe it's my phone then. I'm apologize. That's probably me then, or my eyes. You know.
I was also trying to look it up and see what it looks like too.
You look good on the stream. That's all that matters. So, yeah, that's great. So now what I want to talk about is kind of this aspect of community building and kind of the clubs that you attend and run. But before we do that, do you want to do the announcements that you had referencing? Yeah.
So a bunch of different things. So for a lot of you that are watching that are fans of Andrew, a lot of you are in MDFA, a lot of fans as well that are in Uno, the group that I'm a part of, as well as Bain. Which is very up and coming, and I can't wait to travel to Bain events soon. So Blaster Guy Rob, who I was talking about earlier, and I am helping Rob succeed in business, and I am working with him on a new worker dart order that we're going to be coming in and doing soon. We're buying either 120,000 or 6 million worker darts. We have a debate over whose math is correct on that, and we have the space to store them, but we are interested in selling them at below retail price. So we're selling a box of 200 regular worker darts for $10, and boxes of worker heavies for $12, and we are willing to deliver them to you at an MDFA, Uno, or Bane event at no cost in time for the holiday season. And if we have to ship it to your home, if you are in one of those three groups, we will do it for you at no additional shipping cost. So for anybody who's interested, if you're seeing this and you're in the World Foam Alliance Discord, I'm in that Discord server too, so you could DM me at Faddle, Faddle, and let me know. And Blaster Guy Rob and I can get a few boxes of darts or a box of darts to you as soon as humanly possible. So we got that going on, and I'm helping him also start another business. And I want to make, Rob gave me permission to make this announcement here as well. You guys might be seeing my background, all the Nerf that I've accumulated just over the past 2 to 3 months. And a lot of this stuff I accumulated for nearly free or affordable prices, but I test them out, and Rob tests out all the blasters that he has. He has blasters in the thousands, by the way, at his home. And we have a lot of inventory. And inventory that's growing so much. I had to buy these three racks just recently. I'm going to have to buy more soon. And for those that are especially in the northeastern United States, from Maryland to Maine, we are interested as well in selling a lot of these blasters to you guys from multiple different brands and multiple different decades, for some of them even at below retail cost. And we are going to be releasing that as a business called Blaster Guy. And it's going to be blasterguy.com. And once that goes live, we will let all of you know about that. And again, similar to the dart orders, if you are part of MDFA, if you're part of Uno, and if you're a part of Bane, we are more than willing to drive and deliver these blasters to you in a decent refurbished condition. And another thing I'll also say, this is just a hobby that I'm in, apart from foam flinging, foam collecting. I am obsessed with Nerf thrifting. If any one of you searches up Nerf thrifting on TikTok or on YouTube or on Instagram, you will find videos with thousands of views and thousands of likes. People like it, and I understand why. You're able to get some really good deals at thrift stores like Savers, Goodwill. For me, there's a store called Island Thrift on Long Island, which is really, really cool. And through Facebook Marketplace. A lot of this stuff, by the way, here's another thing I'll simply say for free. I'm able to get a lot of this stuff for free. You simply have a Facebook account, you join a Facebook group, and you search up free stuff, whatever county you're in, whatever town you're in, and you'll find parents and grandparents that want to give away their kids' blasters for free in tubs. And I've been able to basically create my LINO loaner arsenal of Talon mags, of hold mag holders, of pro flywheelers, of pro springers, and everything by trading my way to success, mostly for free, and also sometimes for little bits of money on Marketplace. I want to show you all something that I got. Here are just some examples. Okay. This is what I got. This is an original 1995 Nerf crossbow with the original arrows and original darts. This as well, plus an amalgamation of 90s blasters with the original ammo. $40. $40 for all this and a bunch of other blasters that I'm not showing you all now. Easy to find this stuff, more easy than you think. And Rob and I test this stuff. We make sure it's of good quality. We are obsessed with collecting. Again, I need to get more stuff in the shelves. So if any one of you is very interested in trading your way to success in the pro area of things, or collecting, it's easier than you think. And there is a market for this. And if you just search in the right places, you'll be able to find a lot of great stuff. I found this in Philadelphia, and I had my friend, a colleague of mine for work, pick them up for me. I zelled him the $40, and it is one of the coolest purchases I have ever made in my life. I've always wanted a crossbow since I was 10, and now I finally got one for a $40 deal. A $40 deal where we're searching as well for the best stuff to help you guys out too in the Northeast. So blasterguy.com, and also again some tips to help you guys get the best stuff in the hobby to grow your community too.
And maybe what we'll do is we'll actually have a hyperlink on the World Foam Alliance website that can link blasterguy.com right there.
So Rob and I are working on it. I'm helping him as much as possible with it.
Awesome. I do want to say Buddha has claimed the crossbow, I think they said.
No one's claiming that crossbow. I'm getting a glass case and I'm putting it up on the wall. But if I get more of them, sure. Plus, Buddha, I like him a lot.
Cool. So we're running perfectly on time. So let's move on to club talk. So that's really kind of why I wanted to have you on here. Is talking about because building a community and a club is one thing, but also keeping it going is another. And not only that, but evolving it and progressing it and growing it is another. So tell us about Uno and Long Island Nerf Ops and the affiliation, and just tell us the history about everything, and then we can kind of go into how the club is run today, games that you run. And as we're doing that, let's go ahead and start running the slideshow and video links while we have some commentary.
Yeah, so I am the co-host for LINO, also known as Long Island Nerf Ops. These are events that exist in Nassau and Suffolk counties where we're getting a ton of people to go to events. When I got back involved in the hobby, so both in Uno and being now the co-host for LINO, we only had around 5 to 6 people show up at the first event. All I simply did to quadruple our numbers was mass DM a lot of people in the Uno server, and we were able to get our numbers up like that. I got a lot of my personal friends involved and colleagues involved too. Our plan as well is to flyer around at local universities like Stony Brook University, Hofstra University, the community colleges, the places that had a lot of big HVZ clubs as well, to really try to get our community growing as well. So we've been playing for a while at Elwood Park in near Huntington, but soon we might be moving to an indoor location. So this idea of, oh, well, it's the cold months and so foam flinging is going to end. Not in Uno, guys. One of the issues that we have in United Nerf Ops, which is our tri-state group, is basically that there are too many events going on and not enough days on the weekends. So we've been having to compete as an organization as to, okay, what day is NJNO going to be? What day is LINO going to be? Okay, TNT Night School is going to happen. We got to do things around TNT Night School. Okay, well, Albany's launching too. Oh, Rob is doing a great job of Pandemonium at Puddletown Adventures. That's amazing, and that's huge, and everyone's traveling all the way out to Connecticut for that and that massive outdoor Nerf arena. How the heck are we going to keep things going? That's the newest challenge. And what I ended up learning when really quadrupling LINO's numbers, that's me, by the way. You'll see me pulling up my pants over the Busby Big Blast. I was 12 there. That's me at APOC 2010. And that was I was, again, you can see the difference in blasters that people were using. There was no 3D printing. That barrel, again, that was advanced. That was the thing back in the day.
That's amazing.
Nothing like what you're seeing now, but yeah, me waving to the camera. So yeah, it was like line battles in the colonial days back then. You would there was nobody cared about cover. You would just run into each other, in these open fields in New Jersey, near Toms River, New Jersey, and that was the hobby. That was the peak of the hobby, back then. People just running around like this. That blaster that guy's holding, I think he's the YouTuber that made that video. That was like advanced foam flinging in 2010 right there. Something like that. We could load a few darts on the side. Woo, and not just one. Wow, top level stuff. But yeah, growing LINO, growing a group is much easier than you think. You just need to put like an hour or two a day into having some extra initiative. I'm probably going to hire either a Filipino or some guy from Fiverr to help create an awesome poster. And I'm going to be flyering up at the universities like crazy. And if I was able to go from having LINO 2024 up there, there's Rob. See, he doesn't age. When you're able to have a group from 5 people to 20 people like that, just imagine with a little bit more effort and maybe just putting $10 to $20 into advertising will do. MDFA is insane. When I visited you guys down there and to see how many people you guys get, I was jealous, Andrew. I was jealous. I'm like, okay, you know what? We at Uno can do just as good of a job as Andrew and his donut can. There's no excuses that we have when it comes to this. We're gonna like make our teams more pro. We're gonna have better games. We're gonna get everybody. We're doing a mass jersey order and we're doing hoodies now, everybody soon. So I'm working on that. I'm working on the new CTNO logo and we got the new LINO logo out. So it's like no excuses, no excuses. We're really going all in here. To really professionalize ourselves and to grow things. And I think within less than a year's time, come the spring and summer of 2025, we're going to have too many things going on in Uno. We're going to have 30 people at each and every game minimum. I already predict that as the natural future of where things are going due to all the innovations that I've been talking about with people behind the scenes. NJNO is a fan favorite. Pandemonium, which is the Connecticut game that we have once a month at Puddletown Adventures, a very thriving and successful Nerf business out there. They are innovating. They're spending thousands of dollars to improve the quality of their fields, and the advertising is insane there too. The Albany area is going to have a massive, massive explosion, not just because of the help of RPI Code Red, but due to Steven's efforts. It's going to become crazy. And the same is probably going to happen for Bane soon too. So when it came to that growth, it really wasn't that hard. It was just coming off as a little annoying, but respectfully DMing people and asking them, hey, I noticed you're a part of this group. We haven't seen you in a while. I would really like you to come out. We have loner blasters for you. We have this, we have that. We're going to go out to eat and go out for some drinks afterwards. Would you really like to join us? And just showing that little bit of humanity and hospitality and sacrificing an hour a day's worth of your time, you'll be amazed at the results that you see in this community. Just, again, because of the humanity and kindness of the people that are here.
Absolutely. What's the history behind LINO?
Yeah, so as far as I know, the Nerf internet community started to get really big in 2001, 2002, and 2003. Started out with nerfhq.com, Nerf Haven, the big brother, even though it kind of came after, I believe, started soon after. And then you had Foam Universe, which I was on as well. Before I started hosting the 3 Long Island Nerf Wars when I was 11, 12 years old, there were some very, very small attempts to try to get some Long Island events going in the early 2000s. I believe that was met with little to no success based on what I was able to research all the way back in those days. LINO, there was an interest in wars and events happening on Long Island when the NIC was at its height in the late 2000s. And that's why it was easy for me as a minor who was back in the day, who was barely able to type properly on forms, to even organize that to where we were able to get even attention from people in New Jersey and Connecticut. And now with coming back and seeing what Sanchez has done and what Ness has done with their combined efforts, with having that apparatus now be under Uno, it's great. And all I am simply doing is taking an existing structure and injecting a steroid essentially into it and blowing it the heck up with barely any money being put into it so far. And I'm going to put some money into advertising into it soon. And just imagine what's going to happen come the spring, summer. So that's the overall history. It was early efforts and interest in the largest ever suburban area of the United States in the early 2000s when the NIC started. Big interest late 2000s, early 2010s. And then when Uno really got its game started in 2018, you had these things called the invasion of Long Island. Uno invades Long Island, Ness leading the charge back in the day with his rival blasters. That's when LINO started to really blow up and there really started to be a permanent professional interest in the modern day. And so that's where LINO is now. And I just have so much fun hosting that it's fun to help take back the reins of things as co-host now as a 26-year-old.
And you're co-hosting with Sanchez, who's well known in our Uno and MDFA crowd. So shout out to Sanchez. Tell us a little bit about LINO, the games that you run, ages, caps.
Yeah.
Give us a overall.
So we try to follow Uno rules when it comes to age. So it's mostly older adolescents and adults, because we really, if you I sent you guys some LINO footage of our recent late September game. We go all in when it comes to, and there's some videos on YouTube already up of some of this. So yeah, the match is about to start here. Again, this is me mass DMing people, but look, just take a look at this. Very, very, these are people in their mid to late 20s already charging on in very quickly, going halfway through the field. So we have to try to really prioritize safety. iPro checks, of course, like every other hobby group, and a lot more. So we play, usually we're trying to do more HVZ because some people really like that towards the end, but we mostly do deathmatch. And domination has been a real fan favorite at LINO. I know not a lot of groups have enough time to really put out the domination bricks and to really do that. Some people more like Hot Pot a little more. Flag Dash is a big favorite of ours too, but I've noticed that a lot of groups like Flag Dash and Hot Pot more. But domination is becoming a really, really big fan favorite among the LINO crew. And if we have enough time, I know Sanchez really wants HVZ, so we're trying to still go ahead and try to fit that in.
Very cool. And what are the caps that you guys are running there?
I believe we are at 200 cap for springers, and I believe 160 or 170 for flywheelers. I want to really expand it to like 250 because we've been playing in a pretty big park, but we are also looking at indoor venues. So everybody, stay tuned. We did schedule the next LINO. It's actually going to be in November. We're skipping October because there's too many events in Uno. That's the problem. We're suffering from our own success. We're thinking of that Saturday, November 23rd, but it might be rescheduled to Sunday, November 24th to be decided, but possibly indoors and closer, by the way, to the New York City area, which means we'll be able to get more people from New Jersey. We'll be able to get more people from Connecticut and New York City coming too. So stay tuned for that. We're really trying to do what we can to listen to the Uno fan base and expand and innovate as fast as possible because we're competing with some of our own colleagues.
Right. And speaking of competing and comp, I noticed that you were on the practice comp field at DMV, and you just mentioned that you're looking to kind of revamp and update Uno Reverse, which is one of the comp teams from the East Coast, from the Uno area. Tell us what your thoughts on comps and what are you looking forward to? Are you looking to compete in any upcoming tournaments that are coming up?
I'm like Ness. I am a comp addict. And it's making me really not like recreational stuff as much. But luckily, our recreational events in Uno are starting to become just like our comp events. LINO, as you saw in that footage, very fast-paced, a lot of sporty-looking dudes charging at each other just because of the energy and the interest that is there. NJNO, in a dude's backyard, we have a snake set up with paintball inflatables. We really try to make it as fun as possible, and we try to have a lot of good video footage, kind of like a mini TNT almost as well. It is an absolute blast. The moment that I went down to the DC Blaster Battle and you opened up the comp arena, I was like running like a child to the back to try to play. And I was the kind of loser of the group because I got to give credit to the MDFA Pro comp people. They're so freaking good. I'm glad that I'm going down there because I'm trying to learn how to be better by getting my butt kicked. That's how intense Nebula and a few of the other teams are in that area of the country. And I went back up to New York with an objective to make Uno much better in that regard. Draw 5 is excellent. It is our best team in the tri-state area. But when it comes to Uno Reverse, I want to help Django, who is the head of Uno Reverse, make the team a lot better. And I'm trying to get jerseys ordered for the entire team, having some uniformity. That's why I liked about a lot of the Maryland groups. There's a lot of Maryland and California. There's a lot of uniformity, and I want Uno to be the same way when it comes to that. So I'm taking the initiative on New Jersey orders as well as hoodie orders for our teams, Draw 5 and Reverse, as well as Uno in general. But I am just very impressed, and I have so much freaking fun playing with the MDFA people in comp. And I'm an addict. I am like Ness. I barely want to play anything else because of just how freaking awesome it is. And I always try to learn. I always try to look back at the video footage, and sometimes I would take notes. I'll be in calls with Rob and Mia where we would look back at some of the sometimes like late at night in Uno, and we would look back at the footage and see, okay, I stunk here. Okay, here's where I did great. Here's where we could do better. We've been making spreadsheets and getting better. So when it comes to events that I want to go to, of course, APOC and BPOC, that big Northeast comp component that happens in the spring, it's late spring / summer. We're trying to figure out when that's going to be of every year. I love that. I went to BPOC this year. I was going to actually go to RAG and play for I believe Nebula. But I was asked a little bit too late, and I didn't want to spend like over $1,000 to go there very last minute. And I would have not been one of the main players. I would have been one of the fillers.
Sure.
Kind of the guy, So one of my goals with also growing Uno Reverse and also helping out Draw 5 with their uniform stuff, and also growing Uno and LINO in general, is having Uno with people, having players in Uno with the ability to travel to California, to travel to Canada, to travel to Texas, to travel to Maryland, and to travel to Singapore. That is one of the goals and projects that I actually have in a Google Drive of mine, to at least grow the amount of professional players, to where if there's some players that can afford and have time to travel to these things, Uno will have an ability to take its place on the national and global stage. And I got Nessa's permission at least to do that next year for RAG. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to grow our player base to where we can do that nationwide.
Absolutely, that would be very cool. Yeah, as a original Magic Smoke team member, I am jonesing to get back on the comp field. I very seldom get to actually compete just because of the event hosting, and
No.
I competed with Mystic Vapor for BPOC, but hopefully I'll be able to get some comp in at some point next year.
About hosting sometimes, you want to play, but you also got to look out for people's safety. You got to make sure people know the rules in the iPro. I've been buying first aid kits for all the different Uno hosts and generals and all that, so we're trying to prioritize safety more there. But sometimes you just want to get out there and own the field, and
Absolutely.
you're like, no, I gotta make sure everyone's good first before I can indulge myself.
No, it was funny. I actually ended up on the practice comp field for a couple of rounds this past event, and I did extremely well. I was using the blink just because that's all I had, and I got a little overconfident. And then the very next round, I got lit up, of course. And but that's how it goes when you play Maryland comp sometimes. But yes, if you get a chance to come down and check out the comp fields that we have here, we have multiple ones. We have the DMV comp field indoors, and then we also have a outdoor comp field we have at Southern Maryland that we set up as well. So definitely would invite anyone that gets a chance to come down and check that out if you're interested in some comp play. So we're kind of at that time, but is there anything that you want people to know that we haven't kind of touched on or discussed at this point?
I don't really think so. I guess I will say, for any of your viewers who live in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and you have a Facebook account, go on Facebook and search up either Connecticut Nerf Ops, New York City Nerf Ops, New Jersey Nerf Ops, or Long Island Nerf Ops, or the Albany area Nerf group, and join a group near you. In the vast majority of the Uno subgroups on Facebook, you can find the public URL to the United Nerf Ops Discord server, and I highly encourage every single one of you, especially even people that live in the New England states or in the Mid-Atlantic, who want to travel to some of our events, and we're growing them quite a bit. And I'm trying to use MDFA as a good example of that. Please go ahead and join the United Nerf Ops Discord. It is free, and we don't have it like super public everywhere. So if you still can't find it, or if you're not like old like us and you're like a very, very late Zoomer, and you are, you just became of allowable age to be in these things, and you're like, Facebook, what's Facebook, schmacebook? Go to the World Foam Alliance Discord server and find me, Faddle, and say you want to join the Uno Discord, and I will give you the public Discord link to join. We would love to have you. And I want to say again, Andrew, thank you so much for having me on the show. I would love to come on and work with you more, and talk to you more in the future about things. I am a fan of your work. I've watched nearly all of your videos. That's how obsessed I got back into the hobby ever since just shooting these pea shooters in the office. It is great, and I understood why I loved this hobby back in my childhood, and it was a real shame that I took over a decades long break just to finally come back again. But I'm making up for lost time, hopefully.
Well, from what I can see in the chat, people are extremely happy to have you back, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you grow not only LINO but this hobby. I think that's something that we kind of share in common, is that we really do want to build a community, and we really enjoy people having as much fun as we do when we get a chance to fling foam. So I want to thank you for coming on. I think you did mention, but just go ahead again. Where can people find you?
Yes. So again, when it comes to Faddle and who I am in the Nerf world, the foam flinging world, you can find me in pretty much every professional hobby grade Discord server. And again, when it comes to the business that I am doing, and not only trying to grow Uno's influence, but also trying to grow the Blaster Guy brand with Rob, I want to do whatever I can to help that man. He's one of the kindest people in this hobby in this country. We're going to be traveling out to more places, so please contact me. Please communicate with me. I would love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear from you and your story. I'm obsessed with this hobby, and if there's anything I can do to help you and to help us all uplift each other together, it would be my absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Faddle. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this evening episode of The Foam Zone. Next week, we'll be back with Get Off My Lawn with Captain Xavier and Al the Geek. I'm not quite sure who their guest is going to be, but we'll get that confirmed as soon as possible. I will be back the following week, and I will confirm my guest once I get that confirmed as well. But again, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. If you have events, good luck, stay safe, have fun, and don't forget to dark sweet. Have a good one, guys.